Hello everyone, it's Becca from Becca Books and Bujo, and it is time to chat through all of the books I read in December. Overall, I read quite a bit in December. However, I don't think it was my best reading month. Actually, not really at all, because I didn't get a 5-star. Here are my stats for the month. I read 13 books. My average rating was a 3.8. And most notably, I did not have a 5-star read. My highest was a 4.5, and that's kind of disappointing. End the entire year of 2024 with no 5 stars. Bummer. But that's okay. We can only look up. Let's see. We are just going to chat through the 13 books I read in order that I read them, just because that's easiest for me and how my brain is functioning currently. So let's start with actually a series of books. I read all 5 in the Under the Mistletoe series that was put out by Amazon. It's 5 romance novellas written by 5 different authors. I read Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood and gave it 4 stars. Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey, gave that one 4 stars. I read Merriment and Mayhem by Alexandria Bellefleur, gave that one 3 stars. All by My Elf by Olivia Dade, I think that one was more a 2.5 star. And Only Santa's in the Building by Alexis Daria, I gave 4 stars. I had a fun time with these little novellas. I know that they have kind of been looked down upon in the book world. I know that Goodreads average ratings are very, very low for a few of the books in the series, but they did what I wanted them to do, to give me a fun romance time for Christmas. I would say my favorites were Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood and Only Santa's in the Building. Brief synopses of each of them. Cruel Winter with You is about a friendship that was from a long time ago. They are both back home. They get stuck in one of the people's houses during a snowstorm because the other was trying to borrow some sort of pan for cooking, and they reminisce over their lifetimes. They kind of have always had a thing for each other, but never thought it could work. So, thought that one was really cute. Merry Ever After, I'm trying to remember. Oh, this one was about a woman who has a newborn baby, relatively new, and moved to this small town in Texas. She starts up a fling with a farmer in the town. I thought that one was cute. I know some people didn't like it, but I didn't mind it. Merriment and Mayhem was about a woman who was trying to fix up her grandmother's house after her grandma died, and she keeps getting the fire department called on her because she starts a fire, she's hanging from the gutters of the house. She just has a lot of struggles and she starts something with one of the firefighters. All by My Elf was about a few people who drove a hot dog shaped car around. And 2 of the people in this situation start something up. And Only Santa's in the Building is about 2 people who live in the same apartment building. They go to a Christmas party, get stuck under the mistletoe together, and, you know, things ensue. So out of those 5, if you have any interest in any of them for next Christmas, I would suggest Cruel Winter with You and Only Santa's in the Building. In amongst all of those Christmas romances, I read another Christmas romance called Snowed In by Catherine Walsh. This is about a man and a woman who have both found themselves in Dublin, even though they are from some small town in England. They meet up before Christmas and realize that they're both going home, both a little bit scared to go home. One because their family is very intense, and the other because she hasn't been back since she left a man at the altar. So they decide to go back home together and fake date so that they have each other's backs during the Christmas season. This one was fun. I liked their banter and their relationship. However, it wasn't something that I hadn't seen done before. There wasn't anything special or new. There were 2 people snowed in together at a log cabin, and they had to face the realization that they actually had feelings for each other. They weren't just faking it. So I did give it 3.5 stars. I don't think I will continue on with this series. Actually, I jumped ahead and read the second before I read the first, but I have no desire to go back to the first. So yeah, that was my thoughts. It was fun and cute, and I like it when people are stuck together like the one bed trope or the snowed in trope, but yeah, it just wasn't anything super magnificent. Next up, I completed The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley, and I think after reading this one, I have decided that I no longer need to read Lucy Foley's books. I have had a very mixed bag with Lucy Foley, but mostly not great. The only one I really thoroughly enjoyed was The Paris Apartment, which is maybe controversial because I think a lot of people don't like that one. But The Guest List was just kind of mid, I think 3.5 stars. The Hunting Party put me in the worst slump of my life, and I gave it 2 stars in the end. Should have probably only been 1. What others have I read by her? That might be it. But now The Midnight Feast, I gave 3.5 stars. It was just very average. Nothing super exciting. Although I did find some intrigue as I was reading it. This is about a manor, an old house that has been turned into this really luxurious retreat place. I don't even know if it's a retreat, but a hotel. People are flocking there for its opening weekend when a murder happens. Something bad goes on. However, we are kind of jumping back and forth with timelines, realizing that something happened on these premises many, many years ago that is kind of coming back to bite the hotel's butt because someone has a grudge and we don't know what it is. Like Lucy Foley's other books, we are following lots of different perspectives, trying to piece it all together while jumping back between timelines, and it was interesting. I wanted to know how it ended, but it ultimately wasn't like super amazing thriller for me, and I am not planning on keeping this book nor continuing on with any of the other books by Lucy Foley that she may come out with. Next up, my best book, you could say, of December, because it was my only 4.5 star rating of the month. We have Dinner for Vampires by Bethany Joy Lentz. The subtitle is Life on a Cult TV Show while also in an actual cult. And I love One Tree Hill. I loved Bethany Joy Lentz's character of Haley and her relationship with her husband in the show, Nathan. They are some of my all-time favorite TV characters. So when I saw that she was coming out with a memoir, I snatched it up on Book of the Month because I'm very interested in celebrities' lives that I actually have some sort of draw to. She had a very interesting young adulthood. She found herself in a religious cult. She did not think, though, that it was a cult because of how welcoming and open it was at first. And I think like the main message of this book is that this can happen to anybody. Don't assume that someone who is in a cult is completely stupid and naive and doesn't know how to live their lives. Cults and people who run cults are manipulating people emotionally and mentally to bring them into this group of people. And for Bethany, it was just a way to feel welcomed somewhere when her family life maybe wasn't as great. And so her main message toward the end was that human beings are vulnerable people and can easily be held under a spell of someone or something. So we shouldn't judge people that are in cults or who have finally gotten out of cults just because of their past. She wanted to be a voice for people who have found themselves in similar situations to her so that people weren't so harsh on their past. Really enjoyed this one, and it made me want to do a rewatch of One Tree Hill, of course. Next up, I completed The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. This was a really fun magical realism fantasy book about 2 young boys who disappeared in the woods one day. They came back 6-ish months later, and people did not know where they were. They had searched the entire area of where the boys say they were that whole time, and they were never found. So there's this mystery afoot. 30 years later, 20 years later, I don't remember exact timelines, but the boys are reunited and return to where they were. It's basically like a Chronicles of Narnia story where 2 boys went through a door and found themselves in a different world, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I gave it 4 stars. I think it just didn't like reach super amazing peak of 5-star for me, but I still enjoyed it and have really loved Meg Schaefer's writing. The Lost Story now and The Wishing Game that I read last year, she just has a way about writing a story that you get entranced in and want to know what happens to the characters. Sometimes you even like see your life in these characters' lives, and it's just really fun to read. So I enjoyed this one. The next book I completed was The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is a tricky book because it was marketed as a literary mystery, and I knew that going in, but I thought that there would be a little bit more suspense and intrigue than it actually had. I was prepared. I knew what I was going into, but I still wanted more. It was a very in-depth look at a certain family who lost 2 different children at this summer camp. One disappeared 10 years ago, and then one disappeared just like a day ago. And so we are following 2 different timelines of when the son, Peter, disappeared. Bear was his nickname, and now when Barbara has disappeared. They are connected, and it's very interesting to see how, but it was just very slow. I also think I did not read this at the right time in my life. I read it over Christmas break, and my family was very, very sick over Christmas break. The other thing that added to my lack of enjoyment was that I was listening to it, and I think I probably should have physically read it. I was listening to it while sick and taking care of sick children. So just a whole combination of things that I think made this not the right time for this book. So unfortunately, this book got a 3.5 star for me. I do see the pull of it, and I understand why people enjoy it. I maybe don't see why it was the best mystery thriller of 2024 according to Goodreads, but I do see why people enjoy this and like the family character study that it presents. On my Kindle, I read Like Real People Do by E.L. Massey. This is the start of a trilogy that I didn't realize, but awesome. This is a hockey romance between 2 gentlemen. We have a professional NHL hockey player, and we have a student who is a wonderful figure skater, and they practice for their hockey and figure skating in the same arena, run into each other, and strike up a friendship. For the NHL player, it is very difficult for him to start up a relationship with anyone because he would be the first gay, or at least the first outed gay professional hockey player in the NHL, and so they have to take their relationship very slow, but it's really, really cute, and I liked it a lot. I definitely want to continue on with the series. It was a fun, easy read, and I liked the characters and how they interacted with each other. Another Christmas romance, folks. I think I read like 9 romance or something crazy, and most of them had Christmas ties. I read The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score, which again is the second in a little duology companion series that I didn't realize, but I wanted to read it nonetheless. This is about a small town of Mary, Connecticut. They get hit pretty badly in September-ish with a hurricane, and a famous TV star known for her work on like a TLC kind of channel. She is a renovator and updates houses. She takes it upon herself to repair the town and prepare it for their big yearly celebration of Christmas. Mary is known in like 100-mile radius for their Christmas celebration, probably because their name is Mary, M-E-R-R-Y, but that's also how they get a lot of their income for the year. And so the city manager, even though he is hesitant at first to let his town kind of be exploited in this TV series that the TV star has planned, he does accept her help because he wants the Christmas celebration to happen. Of course, the city manager, the grumpy city manager, falls for this really happy-go-lucky TV star. He doesn't like her at first because he thinks she's manipulating emotions and exploiting his town for fame, but that's not what she's about. She really cares for the people that she helps, and she tries to show that to the city manager, Noah, and she is able to do that in the long run. But yeah, I had a fun time with this. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and it just, I think Christmas romances will never probably be 5 stars for me, but the feelings I get from them while I'm reading them in the Christmas season will make me continue with other Christmas romances because they just give me such wonderful vibes and make me feel good. The last book I read in 2024 is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This is a book I had borrowed from my sister in 2024 and I want to get it back to her. So I decided to read it as quick as I could in the last few days of the month. I listened to it and was able to get it done in like 3 days. It was a super fun romance. We have a woman who's kind of like a Taylor Swift character. She has taken the world by storm with her musical talent. She is about to embark on a 9-month musical tour, but she is overwhelmed and burned out and needs a break. So she hops in her little Toyota Corolla and drives down the road to Rome, Kentucky. She is taking a page out of Audrey Hepburn's book by trying to travel to Rome and escape her life in one of Audrey Hepburn's movies, but she just searches for the nearest Rome, and it happened to be Rome, Kentucky. She lives in Nashville. So she pulls up to Rome, into Rome, and her car breaks down in a gentleman's front yard. He tries to help her. She's scared. She doesn't want to be noticed as to who she is and attract a lot of paparazzi to the town, but eventually she does let this gentleman in, or she gets out of her car to talk to this gentleman and falls in love with the cute small town of Rome. She realizes that she is in this crazy constant go, go, go of life and loves the slow-paced, or a little bit more slow-paced vibe of a small town, and learns to fall in love with the town, the people in it, and also has a few romantic sparks with the gentleman that she first met in Rome. Super fun. I like the more closed-door romance, or at least I don't mind it, and so I plan to continue on with this series. I can get this book back to my sister, but definitely knowing that I want to continue on with Practice Makes Perfect, and then the new book that Sarah Adams has coming out in 2025. I think it's called Beg, Borrow, and Steal. I gave this one 4 stars. So those are the books I read in December of 2024. It seems so long ago, and I'm only like 4 days into 2025, but yeah, an all right reading month. It was not the best, but I did have some great Christmassy fun romance vibes, and I'm ready for what the new year will bring. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. It'd be great to have some bookish conversation with you down below in the comments, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!